So I'm going to try as much as possible to make this short so that we can have the time for a discussion. Is that okay for you? Okay, because I think I want to avoid death by PowerPoint, basically. So and I have my lovely blonde assistant who will be clicking throughout my presentation, Dimitri, with whom I work. So thank you first for the sponsors. It's thanks to them we're here. And my mother is very happy I'm back to Beirut, for once for work, not on vacation. So I'm an AUB alumni, by the way. I studied engineering, and I've been in France for about 12 years already. And when I thought about giving a lecture at AUB, the first thing that came to my mind is all of my old computer architecture courses that we used to take down there. And I remember every time sleeping off these courses because I never understood what the Z80 microprocessor did. And I still don't understand until now. Next. So basically, I'll start off with how the presentation will end. So a bit of a teaser. Instead of doing the whole theoretical thing, what we did, we're all great, blah, blah, we're happy. This is how it's going to end. We're going to show you something at the end that looks like this. And this is what we actually use with our top management on a weekly basis to explain how will the prioritization go and what are we working on. Well, I had a small constraint working on this one. The thing is, I don't have the right to put the real names of the project for confidentiality issues. Yes? Okay. Sarih Ahsan? Okay. So for confidentiality issues, I wasn't able to put all the names of the real projects. So I had to invent some of the projects, and you'll see that a bit later on. So I propose we skip the details. So typically, I know what I'm not doing, which is drop, basically. I'm not having a coffee with my old nosy neighbor, Tante Mado, you know, the one who comes at your house and asks all the detailed questions about your personal life. That is dropped as a project. And I'm not eating at Snack al-Mathaf. I want to come back alive to Paris. Next, we'll go all through it. And then I'll explain this presentation at the end. You'll have to understand. So this is the way we visualize prioritization with our management. And I'll go to the details so that you understand what's behind every step and how we actually got there. And mainly, why did we do this? What were the problems we were trying to solve? So, Dimitri. So, how did we get there? Next. These are the topics we're going to cover. Who are we? Why did we change the way we work? When we talk about Agile, Lean, whatever the method, I actually don't care personally. How can we do a governance with such a method, basically? And as a conclusion, where do we stand today? So a bit of context. We work at lesfurets.com. So we are a leading insurance comparison website in France. And we are part of a group that's called BGL, who have more than 3,300 employees and more than 8 million customers specialized in financial services. So they have comparison websites, they are an insurer, they have legal services, they're all around financial services. That's an important point because the company here, if we go to the next slide, we are actually, no, I think it's the first, yeah, it's this one. So we were a startup at first. So I came 2 years ago, the company was already bought like a year ago before, and I was employee number 22. In Les Furets. Now we are 75, basically, in less than 2 years. And we are part of a big group, so we had to find a way to balance between a startup being bought now by a very serious shareholder who's very ambitious, who have very strict deadlines and everything, scaling this from the startup to a more organized structure without losing our essence, our DNA, and delivering fast. It was a very big challenge that we had to manage. So we're talking about ferrets. I mean, really? Ferrets to help you compare insurance? So this is our homepage we're working on. I don't know why in the group it's all about hairy animals. So in the UK, there are meerkats, you know, who stand, they're very cute animals. They look for insurance for you. In France, it's ferrets. And in Holland, it's a mammoth. Don't ask me. And in Turkey, it's a koala. Don't even ask me why. So anyway, so basically this is our homepage. Just to explain in a nutshell, we compare car insurance, motor insurance, health, home, finance, loans, and even mobile offers. So typically, as a customer, you would go there, input your information. We would have done all the work before signing partnerships with insurers, brokers, all these companies to get them on board with us. And you can quickly get a comparison of offers related to your personal situation and buy either online, on the phone, or get a quotation by email, then end up buying. And if you buy as well a ferret, basically, if you buy an insurance, now the people love so much the ferret in France that we had to make a toy ferret, basically. So if you buy an insurance, you can claim a ferret. And we have 15% of our customers claiming a ferret. And it is, to be honest, one of our biggest projects, ironically, and which is driving most of our conversion, rewards. So who are we? We are agitators of change. So we are disrupting the insurance market in France. Our purpose is to fight for better values on behalf of consumers. Our mission, we want to transform the way insurance is bought on the French market. So this is where we want to be in the 18 months. We want it to become effortless, clear, and rewarding. We know all insurance is not the sexiest product, not the most fun product. We all hate buying insurance. We just have to buy insurance. And we're trying to make it rewarding at the end. You'll get a toy if you buy an insurance. Our goal, where we want to get in the coming 3 years, and we're getting there now, is become dominant market share and mind share. So we have an investor putting a lot of money, a lot of investments in offline branding and marketing, and they are really expecting a return on the investment. So we have a lot of pressure on getting things done, and this is why we needed to structure back again differently compared to a small startup at first. So we do quickly over 2.5 million quotations per year. We have 31% market share after 3 years of launch in the insurance comparison, and we have more than 60 brokers. So things got big very fast. That's the whole message I want to get here. And then, okay? So this is my girl with the 2 ferrets, just to show you the 2 cute toys we're distributing. She likes them a lot. And I'm not corporate, but basically that's the only thing I like, is the toys I can get to my daughter. Okay, why change? What happened? So as I've said, a bit of context. Next, please. The organization grew. We have a shareholder investing a lot of money. We have a lot of ambitious objectives. And we are asked to deliver step changes. So we have to deliver small changes, of course, but we are required to deliver more and more step changes. But we have to stay agile, yet structuring the activity. So it was really a big of a dilemma to manage in putting this organization in place. Of course, there's something very important we should not forget when we talk about agile. The teams must be empowered. The teams must be able to provide initiatives, propose new ideas, have autonomy. We don't want to micromanage them. They're smart people. We're very strict on hiring. Well, there are some mistakes. It happens. But basically, we need them to do initiatives, to take things on their own, and without them having us to meddle in every single little thing they do. So typically, the presentation Dimitri gave before on continuous delivery is within that philosophy. So where were we? Where were the problems we were trying to solve? To be fair, we were unfocused. We were doing plenty of things at the same time, and it was systematically a top-down approach. Everything coming from the top management. We were not in a position able to present new ideas or to structure enough ourselves to present new ideas to our management. Second, we were not securing priorities, basically. So every time somebody had a great idea under the shower, in the bathroom, on a coffee machine, whatever, great. We're going to onboard it now. It's the top priority, and we are going to forget everything we are doing right now. Change is good. We want to embrace it. We want to accept it. That being said, it has to be managed a bit carefully, without too much structure, without too much heavy process, however. But we need to manage it in a proper way to make sure we deliver value. Well, this is what I call amnesic sign-off and insufficient pre-sales. So I think I'm going to change the slide before I put it on SlideShare to avoid my boss firing me, basically. So what usually happens, we work on a project, then I don't know if plenty of you ended up with this situation with customers or projects or even internal stakeholders. Well, you're working on project A, let's suppose. 2 months later on, somebody comes up with project B. This is the thing we need to do. You can stop project A now and going forward. Okay, 3 months later on, where the hell is project A? Why didn't it deliver? Why did you stop working on it? So I think it's a typical situation we all worked on, or even sometime, really? Why are you working on this project? Which is even worse, even though they were the sponsors initially. So we had a lot of tough time. And I think we had a share of responsibility in this because I don't think we structured enough what we call the pre-sales process. So even if it's mostly internal, we need to sell our projects. We need to explain the value behind them. And it's a lot of internal negotiations to get people on board. And if we don't onboard people from the start, we're dead. We're never going to get them to adhere to these projects. And finally, so we had French, strangely enough, are quite close to Lebanese in some senses. It's a lot about emotions and saying, I think this is going to be a great thing. I think this is going to interest a lot of customers. And I really think this is the thing we really need to do. And most of the time, it's not fact-based. We haven't even checked the data in our customer base. We have more than 3 million customers in our database right now. When we even haven't checked sometimes if they are actually really interested in these services. So, for example, we launched some of the projects, basically. We haven't even checked a thing, and we discover a month later, oh, we only have like 2-3% interested, really? Okay, let's stop that. So we want to really kill. I'm kind of a lazy guy, so I would like to do less things possible. So my job is to kill as much as possible all the useless projects. So this is why I was brought in. And next. Okay, we talk about governance. I hate this word. I don't like the word governance. I don't like the word PMO. They sound very heavy. I just have the feeling somebody is putting a very big document with red, amber, green, with all the decision points and going to follow you all until your grave on what you decided 2 months ago. Well, we have to put some governance. I mean, they're putting into a lot of money. We have to give them some reassurance. So what we've done, first job we've done is splitting the types of initiatives. As we've said, we don't want everybody meddling in every single little detail. So we split really 2 types of big initiatives. First of all, we have what we call strategic program initiatives. These are top priorities. These are really big step changes in the business. Typically, the rewards program with the toys is still a strategic program, basically. There's a lot of investment, a lot of communication around it, and it brings a very big uplift in terms of conversion. So this is a big step change. It's followed up by the shareholder, basically. They have dedicated meetings every 2 weeks to follow up on delivery, and it has the highest priority. And we have already done a more thorough work on evaluating, but you will see that later on, we always adopt a minimum viable product approach, even for a big project. We always say we're going to do the strict minimum possible first, launch it, and iterate upon it, instead of doing a 6-month incubation, then ending up doing nothing. Second, we have the local stream initiatives. These are the initiatives worked out by the teams in their own streams, basically. So they have the leeway to do so. They have to work out the ideas, and they can do it. Not everything is top-down, basically. Second, business as usual. So it's bugs, small evolutions, minor stuff to do. And finally, quality and run. Quality is really managing technical debt, and run is production issues. So if we do the next, basically, it's empirical. We decided to split the times of the teams and saying, okay, guys, allocate your time 60% on what we call strategic and local initiatives, and 40% on all the other stuff. Basically, what happens is everything you see on the left here, BAU, quality, run, honestly, we don't even ask them the question, what are you doing in it? We don't care. They have the freedom to do whatever they want. They're grown-ups, they're smart, we trust them, and they do it. There are some discussions we do sometimes to lower this threshold because there are more work on the project, and he hates me every time I do this. And there are sometimes but we have a gentleman's agreement. So if we decide to go through a period where we say, okay, we're going to lower the part on the right, we need to resume back at some point and getting back the threshold again. So what we do, we monitor level of bugs on one hand. So whenever we get to a certain threshold, we either say we declare a bug fest. So the whole company is involved in this, not only the tech team, marketing, HR, commercial, everybody. For like a few days, everybody works on qualifying the bugs as real users. And this is always an opportunity to get everybody talking to each other, because not everybody as well knows the site very well. And basically, the way we organize ourselves, again, I had to put strategic program number 1, strategic program number 2, no names. Anyway, so we have about 4 strategic programs running at the same time. These are the teams that are behind, who actually do the actual work, and they are split by either expertise or area. Typically, we would have a stream, what's called panel. They would manage all the commercial relationships with the partners, whether new integrations, maintenance of current partners, additions of new offers, promotions, etc. So they are really working with the insurers and the brokers, basically here. And there's always an owner in these teams who owns actually this whole stream. And the stream, we always have an owner who's in the management team, product owners, business analysts, and IT teams. So these are 3 teams on which everybody is going to rely. So they will take some time of them for strategic projects. They would have their own initiatives, basically, and they would manage as well the quality, the run, and the BAU. Okay? And of course, in a transverse way, we have the experts, the UX, the SEO, the data analytics, the architecture, DevOps, legal, marketing, everybody. So these guys work with everybody. The thing is, the advantage of having this is that we have this autonomous team. They all work on a single code base, basically. They're all expert in their areas. They are interchangeable, so we have devs sometimes going from one area to another. But we allow them the flexibility of doing their own projects plus implementing the key projects that were validated by the top execs. So next job, so we first redefined what we mean by projects. They don't have all the same level of granularity, and they don't have the same level of follow-up. We're not going to create bureaucracy for an evolution that costs 2 days to change the color of a button on a page. Typically, it's useless. It's going to cost more to talk about it than doing it. So this is applicable for initiatives only. So it's for strategic initiatives and local initiatives. So that we had at least, when I said before, we were not very good in pre-sales and onboarding people. So we need to do some work upfront to explain what we're doing so that people get onboarded, so that we can avoid what Ari called the hiccup effect a few months later. So we have a first phase that we call exploration, which is very vague. So somebody would have an idea at the coffee machine, and we would come. This is a very small phase, basically. We would need to answer what's at stake, what are we trying to do. It's a very rough estimation on impacts and revenues and KPI. I insist on the word very rough. It's no commitment, but we need to have an idea. Are we talking about something that could generate 1 million, a 10K, 100K? We don't know, just an order of magnitude at this stage. And how much would it cost to go to the next step that we call inception? So, and every time we finish a phase, the team finishes a phase, every Monday we have a management meeting. So, and we review this with them so that they can present them. And we have a go to go to the next steps. Okay. Inception, this is where we go a bit into details. What's our scope? What's our target vision? What's our MVP? We keep insisting on what is our minimum viable product. On day one, what will the product look like? We really try to avoid doing something heavy from the start, when do small things and work upon them. You had plenty of projects that once we launched them small, we realized actually people don't care about them. So we did not spend a lot of money. We tried to iterate a bit to improve, but at some point it's useless. I mean, nobody wants this, so let's stop it. We avoided a lot of wasted time, a lot of wasted money in doing this way. A sanity check, so typically architects would take a look at what they're doing to make sure everything is okay. We have to check with the SEO guys to make sure we're not going to damage our ranking, with the marketing, if we're good on track in terms of communication, with legal, etc. And we do a business case. Again, we keep insisting it is an estimation at this stage. Every estimation potentially is wrong. So, and an estimated execution plan at this stage. So we have not done any more build work or analysis right now. We just scoped it so that everybody is sure what are we doing at the management level. Again, go, no go. We go into the build phase. I put on purpose here analysis and development at the same time. So that somebody was asking the question. We do not split, okay, guys, work on analysis. Come back a few weeks later, talk to the devs. They work all at the same time. So if we are autonomous on developing some of the parts of the product before analysis finished, we're going to do it. So we put them in the same teams and they work on this. And this is really where we actually have a clearer and more committed idea about how much a project is going to cost. Because let's face it, here, whatever we say here and here is going to be mostly bullshit, actually. Once the guys start coding, actually, and go into the real analysis, this is where we're going to know how much the project is going to cost. We have an estimation here, and we're going to refine it. And we really had to do a lot of education to the management to explain to them this. Because whenever they had an idea, they would say, okay, when will I get this into production? So it was always about dates, dates, dates. So we explained to them that the dates will get clearer the further we go down the road, basically, in the process. So we were giving dates every time for the end of a phase, which they accepted, basically. And they were accepting, we might be wrong. And even we might be wrong at the build phase, we might discover surprises. So there's a lot of education effort to be done towards management so that they can integrate this. Okay? Then we have 2 final phases. Refine. This is key because everything we're doing right now, we actually measure things. Whether an A/B test or MVT test, we need to check if the feature is really bringing the uplift in terms of performance that we measured. So we do it in a test period, and this is where we'll refine it. So we're considering the feature is not 100% deployed at this stage. It could be at a 50% of the traffic, and then at some point when there's a specific reporting to do this follow-up on this feature, then when everybody's happy about it, okay, we go, we run, we remove all the specific reporting, we're back to the standard regular KPI follow-up, and we're only on production alerting. And we don't talk about it anymore. Okay? Is that clear before I go to the... Okay. So, meeting structure, very sexy slide. So, okay, we need some process at least. I'm not a very big fan of a lot of process, but we need some. So every Monday, we actually have the management meeting. This is where we there's systematically right now, the good thing, we review the portfolio. So I present, this is what we're working on, this is what's dropped, this is what we're doing, etc., etc. And basically, the Thursday, we would have reviewed with the teams the ideas they worked upon, and we would challenge them. If they're mature enough, the ideas to be pushed on a management meeting, because I would like to avoid a massacre by our CEO, typically, of ideas that are not mature. And we really challenge them and push them to make sure they've considered all the different aspects, and they are really thinking about doing an MVP, doing an approach that's not very complicated as well. And the teams have their own screen meetings on a Tuesday. This way, we have the time, if there are any actions to pick up from here, directly to the teams before in their meetings. So they have their weekly delivery meetings that they manage with their owners, basically. It's 45 minutes per team. And they just, okay, what are you working on? What are the risks? What's the portfolio looking like? And then we see them again just to make sure the new ideas they want to present. And that's it. They have their dailies, of course, daily stand-ups. They have their retrospective, but here it's only the process for managing the portfolio, basically. And final slide. Okay, this is how it looks like. I needed to show it first, then explain the process, how we got there. So every Monday, I would go start first explaining what I'm not doing, what is in the refined mode, basically, what's done. I already ate Menaversity the first day I came. I finished my slides 2 hours ago, basically. So there's always the date of the phase. Okay, Mr. Lebanon's election is done. I think we're all happy about this being done. Let's hope they don't do it again anymore. Probably they're going to find a solution for picking up the trash by end of the month. I'm very optimistic. I'm an optimistic person. I'm trying to fix the generator basically home, maybe by the end of the month as well. Okay, in the build phase, I promised my wife on her birthday on the 11th of March, I'll become a dancing legend. I will have six-packs abs. Okay, it's never going to happen, let's face it. And we're in the process of bringing food back to Paris. Okay, I'll skip the rest, but there's an important process. I need to call my mother-in-law. It's still on hold. Well, the whole status is important because actually this is where we explain when I was talking about, great, new idea, let's do it. I'm really more than happy, but at least we're showing this is what we're working on. I'm more than happy if you want to stop something. No problem whatsoever if we consider and we have challenged the priority and the importance of the business. However, okay, what do we put on hold? The rule is we need to reduce our work in progress. The less work we do in parallel, the faster it's going to go into production and the earlier we're going to get value. This is really the main driver behind this. So we're going to put on hold things. Okay, it was validated at the management meeting. Okay, the management meeting was with my wife. She already decided I need to call my mother-in-law when I'm here. I'm going to do it, but I'm putting it on hold because there are other projects potentially coming in that are considered as more important. At least it's shown. Everybody's aware of this, and nobody would shy away from it. Okay, then I think I should do some actual work when I get back on Monday. And we have electing a Lebanese president on hold on exploration. It's still very vague, and it's from May 2013. And then we would have all the great ideas in the shower, at the coffee machine, or in the bathroom that we show in the backlog, basically. This is just an idea, a sentence. We don't even know what's behind it at this stage. We just say, okay, it's here. You don't ask me anything about it. I don't know. We haven't even started working on it, basically. So this is a key document. And every time we finish the management meeting, we print it in A3, and we stick it to the walls of all of our management, basically, so that they don't forget it.
Can I just ask about your proposals? How much it takes for you to, once you pick it, put it on the backlog until you're done?
Dimitri? Depends.
It's really per task. So the real key here is each task goes at its own pace. And usually it takes, I would say, 1 month and a half.
From first to the end.
For the
big ones.
To cross the whole board. So
for big ideas.
You can start to speak to the management. When you put something in the first column, expect to have 1 month and a half to get it done. Because we've done 100 of them, and it usually takes
statistically.
So yeah. We can start to speak about the Kanban vocabulary to say the lead time is that. But we don't do it yet. We just show it the status of the system, and we have them learn that tasks are independent, and we can't predict the order of getting out. We just focus on what is the most priority. So for now we are here. It's not Kanban, it's not we don't have a name for that.
I mean, we really tweaked the method basically to do something that would fit us. I mean, I always say there's no perfect process. The good process is the process that works basically. So we really changed it the way it would work to our company. And I think this is something that could be useful for even non-IT basically. I mean, even an agency working with different customers having plenty of requests, I mean, they could use this in explaining how things are, what are we working on, and it's very visual. Explain, okay, we need to stop this because we have this and this and this. What happens usually when there's a new idea, customers are very tempted and starting to talk about it from the start. They would forget everything you are working on right now, actually. It's very tempting, it's very human. This is why I really advise to start explaining what is dropped, and this is already agreed before. This way you won't have a debate on it. And start from what is closest to production, so from refine, then to build, then inception, then exploration. The customer needs to always remember what's going live close right now, basically. And where do we stand today? Right. We don't do plannings anymore, by the way. So we don't do any more Gantt charts. Everybody's happy about it. We're not asking any time plannings for people so that they say, okay, I think I'm going to spend 5 man days in that week and 10 man days here. We have, however, a very close follow-up on costs. So they all input the work they're doing. We need to understand how we're spending the CapEx, basically, that's allocated by the investor, of course. But we don't ask them, we're not very pinpointy on this from the start.
Okay. You started by saying that you started a top-down approach in management. So you say now it's bottom-up or both?
It's both.
All right. I'm trying to understand the success factors of this model. I find it a little hard to believe that this is all it takes for you to make it successful.
No, it took 6 months of negotiation. I'm going to go through the phases if you want in the next slides. So just tell you where we stand right now, and it was a lot of discussions basically to get there. So we need to work with the top and with the bottom to make sure everybody adopts this. And we put people into contribution actually to do this. So we did not do this just in our heads and on our office saying this is going to work. Okay, guys, take it, onboard it, and hooray. No, we worked with the team. So we chose some ambassadors in the teams who know how are willing to work on these types of projects, and we asked them for contribution on this. And we also worked with the management team before.
So there was a culture change in the company.
We were in agile mode. So we were in a good place in terms of agile delivery. However, managing priorities in agile mode, I think we're not in a very good place. So there was a culture change in terms of management and how we manage priorities, basically. And that's key. It was a lot of work anyway, so I'm putting it on a few slides here, but it took us a lot of discussions.
Just trying to analyze.
Okay. So what this gave us, basically, we're more focused, and we're focusing the teams on the biggest impacts from the start, basically. We're starting to be more disciplined and killing non-strategic projects or non-value-added projects from the start. I mean, the less is more. This is really our motto this year. We are securing priorities, basically. Okay to change priorities, new ideas, great. However, we all need to write what are we killing in this case. If we're killing something, putting something on hold, we really need to put it so that people don't forget. We try to keep a rule, avoid changing priorities if the development has started. We're not dumb. Of course, if there's a great idea and somebody found something excellent at the time, we're going to onboard it. It's just more of a sanity. We're saying, okay, the development started, please try to respect this. Don't stop, development's work is going to cost us a lot, and then we're going to have to refactor things out again. Sign off as well. We give them time now to the teams to prepare the initiative so that we can do the proper selling, so that we can adhere to the ideas. And we decide every time on a management meeting the sign-off level. Is it at the group? Is it at the local? Is it the team only, the management, whatever? So we have to decide every time. So for some initiatives, it would still be top-down, basically. Our CEO would have to go to the group and explain to them, we're going to do this and this and that. He might get told off. He might be accepted, but at least we are clear on the sign-off level, which was not the case before. And okay, yes, we got feelings and opinions, but we need to measure, and track things. And this database decisions. This is where I said something wrong. So we need to check the data we have before, and once we're there, we need to ensure we can measure the impact of our functionalities. We're good, I guess. Well, you drive quickly. Less is more. We need to focus a lot on the why is very important. You need to explain the teams if you want to onboard them. Why are we doing this? Why is it important? I mean, they're smart people. I mean, if you go to them and tell them, okay, do this, you don't explain what's the value behind the project and why do we need to do this and what would happen if you don't do it, you will never onboard them. We are in the logic of launching fast and iterating. And what we have right now, our top management is addicted to MVPs. So every time, okay, so what's the MVP on this? Say, okay, I mean, there are some projects, the MVP is going to be a bit big. No, really, man, I want an MVP. I want something small. Just put a button on the page and people will click on it. Okay, man, I can't test anything out of it. I mean, we're on the extreme right now in trying to educate them back again. And sometimes we do something a bit more robust, but we're not going to complain. And I think we managed to keep agile delivery while doing formal program management towards an investor. And let's take some time for questions. Yes? Well, the initiatives are here, and it's up to the team to tell us how much it's going to cost them to do it. And they decide, basically. And they would do a costing on a certain initiative versus another. Then we'll end up at some point, okay, we have this and this and this projects. We know the priorities. And if we have to take choices, we'll take them. Some things we're not going to do because there are other priorities if it's the same expertise area, basically. But it's up to the teams to say how much it's going to cost. It's not up to us to tell them, no, I think you can do it in 2 weeks, basically. No, it's up to them.
Do you recruit more people as you have more initiatives?
No, we do less. If we can prove an ROI, we'll get contractors in, basically, and we do choices. Less is more. The less things we're going to do in parallel, the better value we're going to get shorter. I mean, even if you get more people on board, they're going to have a ramp-up time anyway by the time they know how to do things. So it's not going to be useful for the first 3-4 months, and they're going to slow the other guys down because they have to learn. So it's not always a very good idea to bring more people.
When do you decide to kill an idea? Do you set deadlines or budgets or something before you start and then evaluate it?
Well, if it's going to be a U quality and run and they respect this threshold of 40%, we don't ask them. We trust them. If it's going above in the other sections, basically, we can kill it on Thursday, every Thursday. And if we did not kill it, it could get killed on Monday. So, yeah, we actually have a plan for next year in terms of volume, conversion, and commission average. And we have a threshold to reach. And we group initiatives typically. I mean, our business model is quite simple. So we have volume multiplied by conversion multiplied by commission. So we're going to have a set of initiatives going into what impacts volume, set of initiatives going into what impacts conversion, and set of initiatives going into commission to increase the commission level that we would have. So we're always going to... always.
All right. I always find it hard to do how you allocated the initiative 60% and if you can say maintenance work 40%, based on what?
Empirical testing. No scientific rule. We just said it's 60-40. We're going to try, and every month we see and we adjust. No science whatsoever. I mean, rule of thumb. Common sense. That's it. The teams, they actually, in retrospectives, we have one rule: no managers in. So it's only the teams who do the retrospectives between them. They discuss. I never go to a retrospective. They discuss the subjects they want, about the way they're working, about development quality, BA quality, whatever. I don't care. They're autonomous. They're big enough. I never go see them. Yes.